We're out west of Lubbock, Texas, and as the sun comes up, you can see this is a cotton field. The rain here is at 15% of normal, only 15% of normal. And if you look at these fields, you can see it's dry. Normally you would see this planted in young cotton coming up. You can plant the cotton here, but it's so dry the seeds will not germinate, or if they germinate, they don't grow very well because they've tested this soil. You can dig down 3 to 4 feet and realize that there's no moisture in the soil even that deep. So the only farmers that are doing well here are the ones that have irrigation, but the irrigation is expensive because of energy cost. Secondly, the water table is dropping. Just dirt, dry dirt. Well, that's the report from Lubbock, Texas. It's dry here. Name show. All right, we're in Lubbock, Texas, and tell us, your family's got farms and ranches up here. Since how long have they had farms up here?
Oh, ever since in the 1920s.
1920s? And so, how many, what do you farm, what, one section of land?
I farm 640 acres of land.
640?
Farms.
And your farms are basically in Dawson County. Can you tell us about the weather and the drought up here?
Well, we've had a severe drought. We haven't had any rain since October of last year.
October.
And about June the 10th or 11th.
2011.
And so that affects the shopping centers, the bankers, the people that live here. It will affect everything. And if we don't get any rain, and this thing will turn, this whole country will turn into a desert, and everything will go belly up.
Well, now, are your farms dryland farms or irrigated?
Dryland, they're dryland farms, and as I understand it, even the irrigated farms now are having trouble getting irrigation because of the water table has sunk so low.
Okay.
We're so short of water.
Now, what crops do you typically grow?
We grow cotton and maize, and if the cotton, we try cotton first, and if it don't go, then we.
So if cotton doesn't go, then you come back with another crop.
If cotton don't go, then we come back with an alternative crop, which my farmer prefers sunflowers.
Right.
Sunflowers make. If we get a few showers, the sunflowers will make. But if we don't get any
before they.
Oh, my farmer has dug down trying to find the dry line. He dug down, and it's over 4 foot down before he can find the dry line. That's how low the water table is.
In other words, the soil is totally dry for 4
it's just
feet
sandy.
down.
It's totally dry.
So he can't plant anything that'll grow.
But he has to go along with the cotton program and the farm program, and he has to plow the land, whether he's got anything or not, to be in the cotton program.
In other words, the cotton program is simply an insurance deal that. Now, can he make a living on the cotton program, or is it just give him a little?
No. You don't make a living if you have a complete drought and you don't make anything. You can't. There's no way you can make a living. Now you buy insurance, and it'll cover you about 3/4 of what you've got in it.
So in other words, it'll pay 3/4 your expenses, but you still don't make a profit.
You don't make a profit, and you have to take that, and you have to pay boll weevil. That's the law. You have to do boll weevil, whether you have them or not. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay insurance, and you have to pay spraying.
Now, how many years have you been doing this?
Well,
when did your family start farming?
My family started farming back in the 20s.
Have you ever seen a drought of this magnitude?
No, never. No. Even in the Great Depression, we've not had a drought that will overcome this. And we're real desperate, and if we don't get a rain in months, a lot of the farmers are going belly up.
Now let me ask you another question. Over the last years, we laughed about this, that you could write a book on how not to make a crop. So you had you've had not enough rain, too much rain, boll weevils. Even one year the crop burned. It caught on fire and burned.
Just burn up because of the fires, the wildfires.
You've had prices too low. You've had the gin not giving you credit for what you actually made. How else have you lost crops?
Well, you name it, we've had it.
Well, do you think you could write that book on how not to make a crop in West Texas?
Well, I'd like to write a book on us getting a good rain. The Northeast and the Northwest has got too much snow. The Northeast houses are floating down the river because they got too much rain, and we're in a complete drought. And our governor, Perry, who is, of course, governor of our state, he has declared Texas as a state of emergency.
Do you think there's been a change in the climate? Do you believe
Yes,
what they...
I do. I think the climate change has made a big difference.
In other words, are the
Global warming.
Are you saying
global warming is here?
Are you saying droughts more often or less rain more often?
Less rain and global warming is here, and it's affecting the Northeast in floods, and it's affecting us in no rain, droughts.
So
this that's global warming.
That's not a political issue. That's just a fact, right?
That you can't do anything about the weather. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well, now, in the Middleton farms, you've got how many families would you say? How many people in all the Middletons are farming here in West Texas? Would you say 20 people, 30 people, probably, counting women and children?
Well, let's see, Benny and Colt and Ann. Yes. Well, Benny has several sections, and he has a ranch, and he has cattle.
Okay. So it could be 5,000 or 10,000 acres all total.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Are you telling me that all of those farms are in trouble or struggling right now?
Yes, they are. Yes, everything needs water.
So you don't have grass for cattle, grain for animals, cotton for crop, not moisture. You can't plant any sunflower. You can't plant anything right now.
Called like this, Libya included. Libya's in it now, and we're in all these different wars. And our money is going over there instead of helping the farmers, and they've taken most of our subsidies away from the cotton farmers and the feed farmers and the sunflower farmers and the guar farmers, and they're sending it all to these wars. We need to get out of these wars. We need to stay out of the foreign wars, let them do their own battles and stay in our own country and try to keep our own country going.
I see. And so, if we lose our farmers,
If we lose our farmers, we'll depend on foreign commodities, and they don't have good environmental rules. The foreign commodities do not have good environmental rules, which we abide by, so that your clothing that's made out of our stuff will be pure instead of toxic. And so we need to back our own farmers and raise our own stuff and let the foreign wars work out their own deals. We're in too many wars. We need to take care of the United States instead of worrying about the foreigners.
What about food production? Do you think we should encourage farmers to grow more food here in the United States?
Yes. And if they had water and help from the government, they would do that. But right now, most of our money's going to these damn little old wars across the ocean.
Plus the fact that we're in a drought and there's no water to grow.
And plus the fact we're in the worst drought we've been in 50 years. And we need water. And if we don't get water, it'll turn into a desert. And businesses and everything will just go belly up.
Then the price of food and clothing will go up.
And the price of food it'll go sky high. It won't be pure stuff like ours is, because the foreigners don't go by any rules and regulations on our food and our clothing. That includes clothing also.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 39 again.
Well, but you've been at this almost 90 years, haven't you?
Well, no. because I'm just 86 years old.
80. So 4 years to life, 90. So you're speaking from experience of a lot of
Well, I
time.
was born and raised on the farm. I used to pick cotton and hoe cotton to have enough money to buy my school supplies.
So you've seen this through good times and bad times over the last 86 years.
Right.
And you're thinking this is one of the worst droughts, and you don't.
It's one of the worst. It's if not the worst, it's one of the worst that we've had.
So,
we've got to have water, and if we don't get water, we all go belly up.
Now you believe in free markets and capitalism, but you also think that the government should help out just to save the industry, don't you think?
Not take all of our commodities away from the farmers, because the farmers need every little bit of help they can. Because if this country loses our American farmers, we'll depend on the foreign commodities, and they are substandard for consumption.
Why, in your farms, you said they were dry land. Why haven't you irrigated there? Is it because the water table is going down, or is it too expensive to irrigate?
We've got chip water out there, and if it comes to it, I think eventually what the government needs to do is desalinize our ocean water and maybe go into it for irrigation since the water is getting so low.
Now you say you've got chip water, so it's kind of a salty gypsum water?
No, it's not salty. It's just kind of chippy.
Now, why couldn't they desalinate that brackish water that's there now?
Well, they probably could if we could get enough of it, but the water table is sunk so low during this drought that it's hard to find it.
But you think desalination would be an alternative for farmers to survive?
Yeah, salination out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if there's salt water down there, out of
our water.
Yeah.
If we can get to the water table, but our water table is sunk so low that we can't hardly find our water table now.
So do you think that most of the American people and the politicians don't appreciate or understand the condition of the farmers right now?
I think a lot of them don't want to know it, and I think the farmers are usually the low man on the stick if there's any money given away to help. The farmers need all the help they can get, or we will depend on the foreign commodities, foreign everything, just like we're depending on OPEC now for oil.
So the government's been good about helping out bankers. Are the banks lending farmers money?
Oh, if you want to put up all your land for collateral, they'll lend you a lot of money. But you have to put up a lot of collateral to get money from the banks, because the banks don't have it either.
So they're
up a creek too, without a saddle.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate this story from West Texas.
Well, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles.